In this video, we're going to look at Lou Williams' excellent defense to help the Clippers win Game 3. I know, I'm with you. I can't believe we're going to talk about Lou Williams' defense in a good, positive light. Here, the Clippers are pressing. Lou Williams lunges for this ball and he's not going to get it, but what he ends up doing is making a good hustle play right here to get in line with Michael Porter Jr. and force him to pass. Porter Jr. is going to pass to the middle of the floor as he should, and Lou Williams knows he has to get out to the corner shooter. And in doing so, Williams hustles his tail off and gets out to contest this shot beautifully and help force an air ball. This is just excellent stuff. Basketball is a team sport, and nowhere is this shown more than on the defensive end of the floor. One player can do a lot, but the whole team has to be together to help against an offensive juggernaut. Here, Lou Williams goes underneath the Michael Porter Jr. screen and comes out the other side. We're going to see Denver end up working the ball around to Nikola Jokic in the mid-post. It's a pet play for them. Kawhi Leonard is going to dig down. Lou Williams has to get out to the wing shooter, which is Jeremy Grant, and he hustles his tail off. He gets out there, he gives a good contest, and he ends up forcing a miss. You have to help the helper, and Lou Williams did just that. This is probably my favorite Lou Williams defensive play of the game, because it shows his intelligence and what happens when he can actually try. Here, he gets a little bit overextended against Gary Harris, and Harris attacks that left foot and gets over the top. But Lou Williams reaches his hand in to poke the ball loose and forces Denver to have to bring the ball back out to reset. Then, he gets perfectly over the top of this Jokic screen, and he locks and trails perfectly by keeping his hand up in the air to prevent a pass back over the top, and his hand low to prevent a bounce pass back to Jokic. He runs Harris down to Zubac and knows he has to get back to Jokic at the perimeter in order to help and make sure that Jokic doesn't have an open three. Now, this is a size mismatch in favor of Denver, but the clock is winding down, and Lou Williams knows Jokic wants to take him inside. With it winding down, Jokic dribbles, and as he reaches, Lou Williams pokes this ball loose and ends up forcing a steal. Just absolutely flawless stuff. Sometimes you can even help defensively when you're on the weak side or sometimes the strong side and you just dig down a little bit. All you need to do is show the ability to actually act like you care and play defense, and Lou Williams had that in spades in this game. This play begins with Paul George getting over the top of a Jokic screen, and he's going to lock and trail Jamal Murray beautifully. And in doing so, Murray tries to stutter step into a hesitation and go off the dribble, but look at Lou Williams, reaches in, forces Murray to pick up the dribble, and he ends up helping to force a miss, and the Clippers get a stop. Even after you make a mistake, you have to hustle back and maintain the right frame of mind to stay in the play defensively. Lou Williams turns the ball over here. This is how Denver has it in transition. But Denver ends up going back into their half-court offense because nothing's making their way in transition here. Lou Williams is matched up on the wing with Gary Harris. However, Paul Millsap sets a screen right here against Lou Williams. It's a great screen, and Millsap does something very smart. He gets the switch onto Williams by walking Lou Williams down towards the paint. Advantage for Denver. But something very interesting happens here. As the ball goes to Nikola Jokic, we're going to end up seeing that as Jokic drives on Zubac, Lou Williams fronts Paul Millsap instead of being caught below him. And in doing so, when Zubac turns, Lou Williams reads this and sneaks right in to smack the ball away and force yet another steal. Lou Williams was incredible. Sometimes simple things also matter. The Clippers love to show and recover, especially in guard defense on ball screens. Here, Lou Williams shows. Now, he should have shown up higher. However, what he ends up doing here is pretty good, because Nikola Jokic comes to set a screen, but instead of going over the top and getting caught on it, Lou Williams shoots the gap, comes out the other side, gives a decent contest. It's not a great one, but it's decent enough, and he ends up helping to force a miss and get the Clippers another stop. You're probably wondering, wait, I thought this was a Lou Williams defensive video. Why are we looking at offense? Well, sometimes defense comes from offense and from actually staying in the play. Lou Williams sets a really nice screen here. I did want to highlight this. This is a great screen to allow Kawhi Leonard to get some space. And in doing so, Leonard comes back and feeds it to Lou. Lou attacks the closeout. And he does make a mistake. He passes, but Jokic gets his hand on the ball. But this is where Lou shines. Look at this. He doesn't give up. He reaches in, and this forces Michael Porter Jr. to dribble the ball behind his back and turn the ball over right to Montrezl Harrell, who goes up and gets fouled and gets the Clippers some points right before the end of the third quarter. This is probably my second favorite Lou Williams play defensively because it shows how in-tuned he was defensively. Inbound comes right to Gary Harris. But look, Lou tries to deflect it away. He's trying. That's a big deal. He then gets himself down into a solid defensive stance, and he's a little bit of reachy right here, but he's still trying. He then navigates perfectly over this Nikola Jokic screen and stays in front of Gary Harris. When the ball goes to Jokic, Williams is actually going to cheat on this and jump in the air to deny an initial pass back, but he knows he has to get back to Gary Harris because of how good Jokic is at passing. He immediately sprints back to Harris, gets a massively beautiful contest on this three-point attempt, and forces a wild air ball. Denver recovers and gets the ball in for a layup. However, Lou Williams' defense in Game 3 was a pivotal part for the Clippers in their win to take the series lead.